This woman divorced her wealthy husband, and during the division of property, she got his soccer club. On her very first day running the club, Annie fired the head coach. When the coach questioned her, Annie smiled and gave a careless excuse.
You're fired because I'm the owner now and I don't like you.
But a team can't go without a coach. So after firing one, she had to hire another. The coach Annie brought in caused a storm of criticism online because he was an American football coach and knew nothing about soccer. But the online backlash didn't slow Jack down. He and his assistant coach came from their country to England, ready to take over the club. Even though he was full of confidence, what happened next still caught him off guard. As soon as he arrived at the club, Annie said she would take him around. But while walking, Annie suddenly told him there was a press conference. Before Jack could react, he was pushed under the spotlight. Although Jack looked completely confused, he still managed to say a few words, but he was an American football coach and knew absolutely nothing about soccer. Sharp questions came at Jack one after another, leaving him with no idea how to answer. But all of this was part of Annie's scheme, because she wanted revenge on her ex-husband. This club was the thing her ex-husband loved the most, so she was determined to destroy it. That's why she brought in an American football coach to run a soccer team. People who are too emotional aren't suited to be bosses, because this woman only wanted revenge on her ex-husband. This club was her ex-husband's greatest passion, so she wanted to destroy it. So she hired a rugby coach to teach football. Jack had no idea about Anne's plan, and he was focused on making a good impression on the players. But it didn't go very well. The players had no respect for this coach, and while he was giving a speech, Danny even walked out casually. Jack knew trust couldn't be built overnight, so he didn't overreact. He just rearranged his office a little. After wrapping up that dramatic day, Jack's face lit up with a smile again the next morning. He enjoyed the street music, watched kids playing soccer, and seemed full of hope for the future. But the real challenges on the field were only just beginning. On the first day of official training, Jack noticed plenty of problems among the players. The first was Danny, who came from Nigeria. Since joining the club, he hadn't achieved the results he wanted, and he seemed to be losing confidence. For an athlete, that was a serious problem. So Jack encouraged him, saying the happiest animal in the world is the goldfish.
Be a goldfish, Sam. Yeah.
While Jack was trying to solve the club's problems, Anne noticed a new one. Jack was simply too kind, and since she still wanted to ruin the club, a new plan began to take shape. The man put his chewed gum into the gift box. This man was Mark, the star player of the team, so he was a bit arrogant, and Jack couldn't do much about it. Before long, Jack faced his first match as head coach. Before the game, he attended the familiar press conference. This time he had grown. He handled all the tough questions with ease. Since the reporters couldn't trip him up, he used the excuse of wanting to learn more about Mark and went to Anne. Anne said Mark's girlfriend, Mary, knew him best. She spoke loudly with words of gratitude, then pulled out a package from her son and gave Anne a little toy for protection. Meanwhile, Jack went to Mary. As he ate, he casually asked her how to deal with Mark. Since Mary's nails made it hard for her to eat, Jack fed her himself. When he saw ketchup on her lips, he even wiped it away gently. But someone captured that moment on camera. Soon, game day arrived. In the tense atmosphere, the team gave Danny a special birthday celebration, hoping to boost morale. But instead, they suffered a crushing defeat. The only goal was scored by Mark, who then ranted to the reporters after the game, blaming Jack for everything. Elsewhere, Anne looked at the photos she had arranged to be taken, then at the little toy Jack had given her, and she fell into conflict. But then she saw the news about her ex-husband.
Do it.
The woman wanted to destroy her own club, so she sold a shocking story to the newspaper. The next day, she opened the paper, but didn't see what she had hoped for. Jack and the assistant coach were reviewing the last match and realized their strategy was a complete mess. Nate hesitated, but finally shared his idea. His plan used Mark as bait, and Nate worried the arrogant Mark wouldn't accept it. But Jack said they had to try different approaches. Just as they were about to test the new strategy, Mary stopped Jack and showed him the secret photos. She explained she had a friend at the paper, so she managed to suppress the story, but at most, only until tomorrow. Jack insisted problems should be taken to the boss, so he brought Mary to Annie's office. Hearing Mary say she would definitely find the culprit, Annie panicked for the first time after doing something bad.
I know the owner of the paper. I can get this stopped with a phone call.
The photo incident was put on hold for now, but the players' weaknesses still needed time to change. Jack gave each player a small gift, a different book for each of them. The captain looked at his title and felt insulted. Mark even threw his book away and insulted Nate. The captain went to Jack and accused him of being useless, then went to Mark and told him not to bully Nate. Mark agreed on the surface. He was stronger than Cristiano Ronaldo, but when he played, he never dared to score on his own. In crucial moments, he could only pass the ball to a teammate. The reason he never showed his true strength was because he was waiting for the coach's signal. Every time a player's form began to decline, the coach would use this signal.
Hey, Jamie! Jamie! Oh.
From that moment, he became a war god on the field. He dribbled past defenders, unleashed long-range shots, and even broke the opponent's spirit. He walked up to the defender who had just been marking him and threw down some harsh words. Then once he received the ball, found the right position, he began his performance. Everyone was stunned. The goal was absolutely perfect. No wonder they called him the man stronger than Ronaldo. His name was Jimmy, the star of the Premier League's Lee Simon team. Unfortunately, he had an arrogant and proud personality. After joining the club, he rarely passed the ball. He hardly ever cooperated with his teammates. Because of this, the others chose to stay away from him. But today, the reason his teammates celebrated with him, it was because he had changed all his bad habits. And the reason for that change was because of a woman. She was the new owner of the Lee Simon team. After her wealthy husband's betrayal, she was left with this Premier League club. It happened to be his favorite team. She decided to destroy the team with her own hands. For her, the task was very simple. First, she brought in a coach who knew nothing about soccer, and that coach was Lasso. He was the most annoying player in Premier League history. Not only did he love messing with opponents' minds, he also insulted the coach and even mocked his teammates as rookies. Although his teammates often picked fights with him, causing serious conflicts, the club owner never dared to fire him because he was the strongest player on the team. One day, Captain Roy finally lost his patience and told him to keep a lower profile. But Jamie didn't respect him at all. He sneered, saying, "You're already in the past." The argument escalated and the two men were about to fight. When the new coach arrived on his first day, none of the players even looked at him. Everyone just did their own thing, Jamie included. To better understand the players, Lasso asked everyone to share their thoughts by writing them down anonymously, but Jamie just stuck his chewing gum onto the paper instead. Before this issue could be solved, Richmond's next match came. The fans were already booing Lasso ever since the press conference exposed him as a clueless idiot who knew nothing about soccer. Unsurprisingly, Richmond lost 4-1. After the match, Lasso didn't focus on the score. Instead, to lighten the mood, he threw a birthday party for one of the black players on the team. That was Lasso's first step. The second step was addressing the conflict between the captain and Jamie. To resolve it, Lasso invited both of them to a pub. There, Roy and Jamie finally had a calm conversation. The two men exchanged their thoughts at last and got themselves ready for the next match. This coach was really strange. On the very first day of training for a Premier League professional team, he took them all down into the sewers, saying that the secret to winning the league was hidden there. The players were completely puzzled, but eventually, one by one, they went down. The construction workers nearby were stunned, and they recorded the bizarre scene. When the Richmond owner came to the office, he found the coach missing, and not a single player was on the pitch. When he asked his secretary where everyone went, meanwhile, all the Richmond players were already in the sewers, studying the so-called secret to winning. The coach wanted the players to remember that they were all connected to one another and that they needed to throw away anything that damaged their unity, just like London's drainage system. But when they returned to the locker room, they found the media had already spread the story everywhere, claiming they hadn't been training seriously. Everyone was furious, but the star player Jamie helped defuse their anger. When rival teams publicly mocked the coach's actions, the club owner immediately went to him. Lasso then held a public press conference. With his humor and sincerity, he won over everyone. Mannion was very pleased with how Lasso handled the situation.